All right, well, in this part two, I'm just going to go over some of the dings and dents and then get into finishing some. The first one I used was the Sun Cure resin. There was actually some that came with the kit that I bought. However, another buy came, so I happened to order twice. So I thought I'd try and use it and see what happens. Didn't get the best results, but it could have been that I didn't prep the area as well as I should have. And then we'll get into the glassing I did afterwards. So I'm going to take on the easier ones first. That's a tiny little nick. And then I've got a few of them up here. I'm going to fill and sand these off before I get into the crack on the other side. Alright, so I'm going to try the Sun Cure for this little chip here. And I noticed there's a couple little tiny little chips here. And I might as well fill them too while I'm doing it. We'll see how it goes. I have moved the board inside so it's out of the direct sunlight. I'm going to rough sand with a sandpaper that was included with the kit to be a little bit around here. Okay, so I've done some sanding on the little spots here, just trying to break up. I guess I got to do a little bit more. I don't want to take too much off. I just want to rough up the surface so that the resin can go on. Alright, so there it is, filled with a sleeve over top of it. I use tape because I want a better seal. Now I'm going to put it in the sun. Alright, so I gave it a little more than 10 minutes. See what happens. Yep, came right off. Now I just need to sand her down. I have a little sponge here. We'll see how that goes. That really didn't go too well. I'm going to get a little bit of 180 grit, see what happens. Alright, so I wasn't really happy with the Sun Cure stuff. I'll show you that later. I sanded and sanded. It wasn't that hard to sand, but it started to flake up when it got thin. So I'm going to attempt to repair this crack here. I'm going to put some glass over it and see if that doesn't turn out a little bit better. As this is my first time, you know, expectations have to be adjusted. Alright, so I just glassed it. I put 2 layers on. Made the smaller one on the bottom, big one over top. I put a little bit too much epoxy on, I think. We'll just have to see how that goes. Let this cure a bit, set up before I can remove the tape, sand away, and then do a top coat. This was using the Ding All epoxy repair kit. And I better get my dog out of here because I do not want him to be embedded in my surfboard. I also did a couple minor little things. I had a couple of nicks up on the nose here that I decided I would just touch up with a little bit of the extra epoxy that was there. It doesn't look quite as clear as I expected it to look, but it's probably pretty good. The one that I did with the Sun Cure the other day, I just redid. Let's see if I can find that. There we go.
I probably can't see that too well. It's on the bottom. There it is. You can see where the sun cure was, and then I just went over it with the epoxy to give it a top coat.
So now I just have to wait for it to set. I've turned on the heater in the back room there. It's gotten very cold. Yesterday was very hot, and tomorrow is supposed to be cold as well. After about an hour, it really hasn't hardened at all. I just can tell that by the epoxy that's on the tape you see there. I'm hoping that it's just because it's a little cool. Keeping it above the 15 degrees Celsius recommended by the manufacturer, and if I can, it'll get up to 20-25. Just a little heater in there though. All right, we will see what happens.